everything is never enough or some shit like that. Of course, that's not the issue here. Michael Figueredo says nowhere near enough. But my thing is like it's better than nothing. Like I know it sounds kind of stupid, but a lot of the faith that I had that they would be like, wow, we could have 40 million homeless Americans. Maybe we would do something. I was a little naive. But now I'm a little jaded, where it's kind of like
10,000 people die from the coronavirus because they were evicted.
But that was like when we looked at the statistics several months ago. The number is probably much higher now, especially now that it's colder and many more people have gotten the Rona. And the food, there's probably less food available. Wintertime, all kinds of crazy shit. So the number is probably well above 10,000 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, we went over the January 1st. Without people didn't get the $600. That was enough to get rent, pretty much. But this new Biden thing came up, which pretty much happened before we went live. Pretty much, he spoke. So pretty much what it was. I guess there's another old white guy shouting at us again. But I guess he's not. But hopefully, he's not a sociopath. So this was what's going on here. Here's what's in Biden's $1.9 trillion economic rescue package. They call it a rescue package, like a
rescue rangers. It's
like an inflatable boat that's coming to rescue us, from a sinking ship, pretty much. Up to Trump.
We got a fat ass bear and some chipmunks coming to save us.
So we got this guy shouting at us for justice, kind of for neoliberal justice. So pretty much what's happening here is bigger stimulus checks. Not really. It's you're getting the rest of your stimulus check. You're not getting the
I like how they did that too. They're like, listen, we probably should have done 3 $2,000 stimulus checks, but we're gonna make it seem like we did a whole lot by just giving you the other part of the $2,000 we were talking about instead of just hitting you off with the $2,000 straight up. Like, the thing is, he could have, Biden could have made an impact and could have been like, instead of like talking about getting you 2,000, all right, they gave you 600. I'm gonna hit you with 2,000. It still wouldn't have been enough, but for PR purposes, and also, the My Pocket Foundation would be a little bit healthier as an organization if I got the 2,000 instead of the other part.
Yeah, people thought they're going to get
2,000.
People like, I'm going to get 2,600. So I think I also feel like people are going to still be so bad in math. People are going to still think they're going to get $2,000, even though it's going to be 1,400. So let's see if you can get it. I know some people haven't get their first one, the first 2,000. Some people haven't got the 600. You're supposed to get the enhanced unemployment. I like how they call it enhanced, like enhanced. You not get off the streets enhancement. So instead of $300, it's up to $400. But I remember the first time was $600. Wasn't it $600 last time?
Yeah, it was 600.
Yeah, so
it was 1,200, then 600, and then like with the unemployment, it was 600, and then they did 300, and then 300 again.
Yeah,
because I think they gave 300 for like 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. And then it's 300 again for 11 weeks. And then I don't know how long that $400 would go, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's $400 a week. So 11. So hopefully it helps states. I mean, there's some state unemployment systems are so like in the 90s, like, you get a busy thing though. Like it's like total shit show in some places. So, and then one thing that's really serious is the rental assistance and eviction moratorium, because there's 2 things happen. You can't just people you can stop evictions, but that rent is still going to be due.
Yep.
When that moratorium is in. So if 10 months or if you like moratorium for 10 months, then you can expect that 10 months worth of rent. And some people don't have that 10 months worth of rent. So
yep. Because we didn't get the stimulus. So it sucks that it's going to take 1 point. It sucks that that it's going to take $1.9 trillion, but we just need to get past this rough patch. I mean, if you look at the way that the U.S. economy just keeps growing and keeps growing, a little knockback is not going to, like, people have been saying, oh, all of the economic damage is going to, we're not going to recover from this. Man, listen, you'll recover from it 10 hours after everybody goes back to work and starts doing regular life stuff again. The economy is going to bounce back so fucking hard. I mean, people are going to be filling up movie theaters for the worst movies imaginable, just for the feeling of being able to go to a movie theater. The worst bands in the country are going to sell out their tickets. Believe me, the economy is going to be just fine.
It's going to be a big boom, pretty much. That's the thing. But right now, so help for the hungry, going to have more food assistance. So Biden will extend food stamps. Well, remember, Trump was cutting food stamps and cutting food assistance during the pandemic. That was happening for poor people. So more money for child care and child tax credits. And then also for health insurance premiums, because you just want to give money to private insurance companies that, abuses us. We can give them more money for now until hopefully we get Medicaid for all and not this weird flea market of insurance companies that we have right now. Flea market for your body, pretty much, with this, how we get treated by the insurance. And then paid sick leave, pay leave. Some people were sitting around working the whole pandemic without hazard pay or paid emergency pay leave. It's been a total disaster for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And then small businesses stuff, I mean, that's obvious. But also, there's the aid for states and schools, which has also been very contentious because Trump has been letting states, remember there was a whole kind of bidding war between masks and stuff between states that was happening. PPE. States were draining their budgets because the federal aid wasn't happening. So now we're going to have a thing when Biden's going to send all this money to states. That's if some states even acknowledge the pandemic is happening and they take that money and actually help people. I think some municipalities is going to take the money and just invest in the stock market or something. So because the pandemic is not real, so who knows how this is going to get allocated.
Yep. So, but for me, I haven't seen anything egregious a fighter jet or some sort of weird let's not help other countries or. It doesn't look like there's a whole bunch of weird provisions in there that, really make you squint. You squint in suspicion.
Well, the cruise ships and the oil companies that happened the first time.
Yeah, kind of that stuff. But again, the military stuff.
Oh yeah,
they try to, I don't know if people who don't know about the ins and outs of Washington. They attach these things called riders to bills. So when a bill comes up because something important needs to be done, some weasel ass politician will try to sneak some bullshit into the fine print.
Yeah. Can I get a raise?
Well, that's not bullshit. That's not bullshit. That part's not bullshit. If you want to sneak that in, it's not bullshit. But what I'm talking about is, we need a pandemic response thing, right? But then they'll add something in there that, we need to, be able to, I don't know, kick unborn babies in the head,
it'd be random like that. Or it'd be
super random shit.
Your DVDs from you.
Well, some weird shit goes in the law. And you don't even know, where the fuck this came from. Oh, remember that coronavirus stimulus thing? Oh, yeah, we added that.
We have to help people. We also need mandatory toenail clippings. So that'd be a writer somehow on the bill. It'd be what are you doing here?
I'm glad you thought of something as or more disturbing than what I said. Because I was going for disturbing. And now we're talking about toenail clippings. This is what you get on Black Power Magic Hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Keep a bag of toenail clippings. So but the thing is, I also want to compare. I want to pull this up while we keep chatting to compare to this is a chart from actually the first stimulus that when the pandemic actually started happening last year, and this is a real cool list that's a breakdown of all the different countries and how they dealt with it. Unfortunately, some companies, that's crazy. America's got me calling countries companies Certain countries.
Yeah, that's what they call a Freudian slip.
Yeah. So certain countries, like you see here, there was nothing happening here. It was like, man, every man from the fucking south over there. And this is from last year, pretty much. Obviously, you heard about Australia. They're pretty much open again with vaccination happening and good social distancing and mask wearing. Australia, sometimes they close because of certain breakouts, but they're doing way better shape than we are. Who knows how the Aborigines are doing, but that's another story. Austria.
Wouldn't be surprised if it's something similar to what's happening to the natives in our country.
Pretty much. That's what I'm feeling about. That's what story I want to think about, because everyone shows Australia as this gleaming of hope in the world, but there's brown people there, but I never heard anything happen with the brown people for the past year.
What's really interesting?
Yeah.
There are no lockdowns in New Zealand. Like, everybody is like in full stadiums. Full stadiums, in crowds, no one wears masks in New Zealand because they locked that shit down. It is so bad. One UFC fighter, Dan Hooker, they said that because it's like some weird shit in his travel, because he's going to Abu Dhabi to fight on the Conor McGregor card next week on Fight Island. Because of like the weird shit with the scheduling. Yeah. He's basically stuck in Abu Dhabi for a month after the fight, and then has to quarantine for multiple weeks before he can be released, fully into the country. New Zealand is not playing any fucking games of the Rona at all. And, they're living as if, there is no shutdown in the world at all. It's really crazy. I'm a little jealous. Not a little jealous. I'm a lot of jealous.
Yeah. I mean, so PJ, our producer, gave us some insight with what's going on in Australia with their with the indigenous population. Like, I guess they had to fend for themselves, which sounds kind of similar. But it was
better for them to do it themselves than to let the government do it. And it looks like they've been effective.
Yeah, because right now we have this nightmare situation, in North Dakota and South Dakota, where not only is the government hindering social distancing and hindering mask wearing, they also making people sick, even more people sick. So on the native, they pretty much had to set up blockades around Native American territory. And that was the early days. I remember they did that. So I guess they did a similar thing in Australia. They had to set up their own blockades, their own kind of quarantine situation. So as you see, this list pretty much gives you a guide of this really cool list of all the different countries that in these kind of significant COVID relief that happened. Everything from Poland to Norway, New Zealand. So you show different loans and taxes were suspended or delayed. Different things happened.
Yeah, because one of the problems that we're having here in the United States is the landlord just saying, "Well, I can't pay the mortgage," and they're still going to be looking for their property taxes.
Yeah.
So there's government, that's something that you could have done something about. We're going to put a moratorium on property taxes.
Yeah. So that's what they did in nations all around the world. They did on the national levels, they delayed property taxes, payroll taxes, all different things that to help relieve the burden of the long run, what's going to happen. Because everyone knew the uncertainty of it, but everyone had to deal with it in a different way. So countries with way less resources than we have. Even though our stimulus, it may seem like our stimulus is huge, 1.9 trillion, it's still not as big as other countries prepared to their GDP, compared to their budgets. So you have to put that in perspective as well because what's going to happen now, it's going to be the whole deficit discussion. Oh, the deficit, you're going to affect the deficit, all the deficit while people are starving in the streets and boarding up their jobs.
But they raised the deficit to give more money to rich people in the form of tax breaks, right?
Yeah.
So what's the fucking, what are you boo-hooing about? I mean, that was the thing that Trump did almost as soon as he got into the White House, and he thought he was, big shit. Well, I mean, if you are going to give people who aren't hurting for anything even more of what they don't need, then you can use some of that to help people who are hurting and give them a little bit of something that they don't have and that they do need.